Hey guys, so we are on episode number 4. I'm Lacey Moores, this is Chad Trees, and we are doing the Secret Sauce podcast.
Yeah, Secret Sauce podcast. So it's all about, there's not necessarily a magic bullet, but a secret sauce is something that does exist,
Yep.
we believe, right? So basically your secret sauce is a whole mixture of ingredients that you put together and make it your own, and that's what your secret sauce is all about. So we're given ingredients, and today's ingredient I'm really excited about. This one's all you. I'm learning from you on this one and getting ready to implement. So tell me a little bit about board of directors.
I do love this one. I get asked, like, what's the best thing you've ever learned in coaching? And this is probably my top 3. And I was taught this years and years ago on creating a board of directors. And what this board of directors is I have 6. I have 6 categories in which I have
not 6 people,
six categories that I have assigned people to be on my board of directors, right? My life board of directors. So I kind of look at it like my life is a company or an organization, and I have certain people in certain chairs to help me because I can't do it all by myself. And so like I said, it was taught to me years ago, and I cannot tell you how many times I've used this over the years. And it has been such a great reminder, and you need it at so many different times. And so for me, my categories are marriage, parenting.
So we're getting so this is less business, some business, but we're definitely diving into like
the whole
everything here, which absolutely. I love that we're doing that with this podcast because it's not all about business.
Well, if all we focus on is business, everything else goes to crap.
Right.
And I have learned that if you are so driven on business and money, you're a lonely, miserable person. And so you have to be good at focusing on all these aspects. And so that's why I said this thing has just been so huge for me. But mine are marriage, parenting. I have somebody in business, finance, faith, and leadership.
Faith and leadership. 2 separate categories.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes. So those are the 6 that I have. And I utilize these people. Sometimes I have more than one in each category, but I utilize these people when I'm struggling in an aspect of my life, or when I need help making a decision or a direction which way to go. And, so many people get anxiety, or they get overwhelmed on not want to screw something up or make a bad choice. And so utilizing a board of directors helps significantly in so many aspects. And so I'm going to give you 3 tactics on this. But the first tactic that I'm going to get is...
Before you do that, real quick, let me just say something. Because I think this is important. And like I'm finding value in this just as we talk about it.
Yep.
But a lot of people have somebody that they lean on that's just kind of for everything. Like, I mean, I talk to my dad, my parents, whatever it is, like they're kind of my rock for a ton of stuff.
Yes.
But I love the fact that you've identified categories and put people into different categories, because it's not a one size fits all solution. Shouldn't necessarily be one person that you go to for all types of advice.
Exactly.
So yeah, go ahead. You're
100% right. Like my dad is on several like areas that I can talk to him, and he is on a couple of my seats, but he's not on all of them. And neither is my mom. If I want to go to somebody for marriage, I'll tell you, I have a lady that sits on my board of directors in marriage that's been married over 50 years. And she is, and so when we're selecting these people, what we want to do, we want to identify people that will help me, guide me to who I want to be.
They can kind of be your true, when you say guide you, like your true north, like when you're kind of lost a little bit, you can get your compass out and be like,
compass out, and they know who I am, they know my morals, they know who I want to be as a person. And so, when you're struggling in life, or you're in a bad place in an area of your life, you tend, as human beings, we tend to migrate to people who are going to agree with us.
Yeah.
Who are going to make us feel better about the way that we feel. And that's not always going to be who's on my board of directors.
You need people who will call your ass to the carpet sometimes.
Yeah. Or who's going to be truthful. Yeah. Who's going to listen, but then really give me the guidance that I've asked them to give when I ask them to be on this board of directors.
So they know they're on your board right? This is not something you just call them up and you ask for advice.
Yep.
Then you're like, I know this person's going to be this. They know that they're
Yep.
on that. And so you've given them that instruction ahead of time. It's like, when I call you on this thing, I need you to be real
Yes.
with me.
So
I love that.
I had to, when I did this exercise, so the 3 steps, I had to pick who they were. I had to first do the categories. I had to pick who would be those, and then I had to ask them and have that real conversation about why I wanted them to be on that, what I hope out of it if I ever call them, what I need. And every single person accepted. Every single person when I called them.
I'm sure they're super honored, right?
Yeah, very, very honored. But I've just used it so many times in good and bad. So when things are going really well, or when I got a decision that I'm excited to make about a business, right? Like I call 2 people that are on my business and I talk to them about that. And sometimes yes, I agree. I think that's a good choice, move forward, and it's what I need to hear. Or they're actually, I don't know if that's, like who's on my business director. I made a big investment and he talked me through it all and made sure I was checking into things, led me in things I didn't know, and then helped me make that decision. And it's been a great decision since I've made that. But if I were to do that on my own, it would bring on a lot of anxiety because I don't know all those answers. Yeah. But who I have in that seat helps significantly.
So I think this is amazing. Like, rewind this and listen to this a few times for me personally. I know I'm going to, but I think it's going to hit home for people if you give a real life example. But if you don't mind,
no, I don't
sharing
mind.
A little bit.
I don't
on
mind
that.
At all. Well, I'll just do my marriage one. So believe
is Sean
it or not,
gonna be okay with this?
Yeah. So believe it or not, there was a time in my life that I wanted to strangle Sean.
No way.
I probably shouldn't say strangle.
I've wanted to strangle Sean a few times, so I get it.
Say all of that. That we were in a hard place, and marriage is hard. We've been married this year 15 years, but it hasn't always been easy. And I mean, I wasn't in a good place with Sean. I'd already told you about the lady on my marriage board of directors. I called Fawn and I said, I'm struggling. Like, have you ever wanted to murder your husband? And her response was, well, yes, of course I have. So maybe feel a little bit better. She, asked what was going on. And she left me with this advice. And she said, I want you to get this piece of paper out and I want you to write down and just start naming off every single thing that you love about Sean. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm angry with him right now, And she goes, get it done and send it back to me. And I'll tell you what, I still have that piece of paper. Because when I got done with all of that, and I didn't like doing it, but when I got done, I knew I was being dramatic. I knew that we needed to work on things. I knew that there were so many reasons that I love Sean, and I'm so thankful for Fawn making me do that. Now, in that situation, what if I would have called one of my really good friends that's recently divorced?
Or thinking about it, going through, and divorced. You guys just get in a bitch fest about it.
Not, and they could be a friend I love, but they're not going to guide me to what I want. And I do want a lifelong marriage with my husband. I do want a healthy marriage. And so Fawn knows I'm not always going to, that's not possible for it always to be, but she is going to guide me when I need her in that, because I've asked her to be in that position. And she's helped me several times with that, and it has been huge. And there can be people, like she actually serves on a couple different spots for me. She's on my marriage and she's on my faith. And so I can go to her in those scenarios. But this has just made getting through hard times and making hard decisions so much easier. And I know who I got to go to when I need help. And I don't have to worry because of doing this exercise if they're going to give me the right advice.
Yeah.
Now, the only other piece is that the people on this board can change. And it's okay.
Probably should.
Yeah. As your life changes. But it's okay. Like, I will be 100% honest. I had somebody on this board that I looked up to and admired significantly until I did not. And when those values and mine didn't align anymore, I had to take him off and replace them. And it was an experience, and something I had to go through, but it's okay if that happens. I've learned, and I actually replaced him with somebody that I've learned and challenged me to grow way more than I ever thought possible. So I do think that it can change, but I think it's so important. And I kind of want to leave with 3 tactics.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say, we need to give everybody that want to implement this,
3.
how are they going to do it? So
Yep,
3 tactics, and I think I got a bonus one fourth, but go 3.
Okay, well, it might be one of them. So the first is write out your categories. And so you may have 5 categories, you may have 4, you may have 6. Write out the things that are important to you. Just, to repeat again, mine are marriage, parenting, faith, finance, leadership, and business. So writing out your categories. And then step 2 would be coming up with potential people that would fill those and why. So it takes you a little bit to think through this. Not all of them. Some you're going to know right away. Some you're going to know exactly who this would be. And it's okay to have more than one if you want on each seat. And then the third.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
How long of an exercise would you make this as far as like writing out potential candidates and actually determining who they're going to be? I feel like this is not something that you would like, oh yeah, here you go, get it done in like 15 minutes. This is probably like a weekend of reflection or like.
It wasn't for me. I mean, it was
quick.
probably an hour. Yeah. It was probably an hour. I had it as homework, but it was probably an hour by the time I had my categories and who I wanted. Now asking, spending the time to ask took a little bit longer.
Because that's step 3.
That is step 3.
Is asking.
Is to ask.
Because they need to know that they're on your board.
They need to know that you're on their board. I will tell you it will change their life too, because they're going to be like, tell me more.
Yeah.
And want to know more about creating their own board. I think everybody should have a board of directors, period, in their life. I mean, I don't think this is a business. I think this is just in general, you should have a board of directors. Why do successful companies do it? Like, why do we have board of directors? What's the purpose? And when you really stop and think about that, well, then I should too. If I want to be in charge of my life and I want to have people involved that have the best outlook for this business, this life, why wouldn't we?
That is so good, Lacey. Like I'm definitely thinking about it. My wheels are turning, thinking about, and honestly, like, I mean, I know right off the bat, like without having actually put much thought into it, I know from a business perspective, you are on my board of directors. I've never actually like taken the time to sit down, but you and I collaborate on business stuff all the time. And if I'm going through something that I'll call you and we'll kind of walk through it. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I would say the fourth, just that we never even talked about this, but you kind of mentioned it, but maybe review it every year, right?
Great.
Because it is going to change. Your values are going to change. Their values are going to change. What you see in people, what you look for in people will change. And for me, I've started to try to evaluate relationships I have every year. It's like, am I being the best for them? Are they still best suited for me?
Yep.
And so reevaluating that board of directors.
Step 4. I love it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you gotta try. I tried to add something to this conversation, but this is all you. I think we can wrap it up there.
Absolutely.
So, guys, just remember these are ingredients, right? Secret sauce is all about finding what works for you. From all these ingredients, pick some stuff, integrate them in, and make it uniquely and authentically you. That's what the secret sauce is all about.
That's right.
Thanks, Lacey.
Absolutely.
See ya.
See ya.